soccer explains the world, and the smallest scope of Chicago and its neighboring suburbs.
Hello, my name is Roderick Phillips, and our first interviewee was Latina Coleman, a mother in Evergreen Park. She was briefed on the chapter How Soccer Explains a Gangster's Paradise, and here are her words.
It's Latina Coleman.
Extreme.
And I'm at the Evergreen Park Library. I'm a parent and I happen to be with my daughter being tutored for her homework.
What do you know about soccer?
Soccer is a kickball game that most children and young adults play. For the most part, it's a handoff game. Some Americans use this game to release stress. Soccer is played throughout all different nationalities.
After reading a brief summary, what do you gather about this region?
What I received out of this message, that this gangster and his country is no different than Chicago or Evergreen Park, only that this country may have a smaller population, so the controlling and the threatening wasn't so noticeable. It's not right to cheat or threaten with violence, but it's known that money is the rule of all evil, and that this gangster wasn't happy even with all his prize and possessions.
Do you believe that this region was personified correctly?
I'm thinking
S-T-A-M-P.
I'm thinking that the people that lived in Siberia were treated very unfair. As an American, I would suggest that if my country could help them and give them the proper help and finance to better the family out there, give them the things in life that they never had, and not mistreat and abuse them, and because they deserve life too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Based off the summary that you read, does it explain the region well for you, or how does it explain the region at all for you?
Well, I think, didn't you originally ask me how soccer influenced?
Yeah, how does soccer influence?
And then I said that I thought that the people, it must be kind of important to the people if they see that as something as key in influencing what's going on in their country and how women are treated and whatnot.
Okay. Do you believe that Iran is similar to Chicago or Evergreen Park?
No, definitely not.
Okay. Do you believe that the region was personified correctly?
In that article, if they're saying that women were never allowed into soccer games, yes, because from what I know, the little bit about Iran, I know that women aren't treated the same as equals as women are here for the most part.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, what is your name, sir?
Sir, it's Father Phil Hogan.
Okay. What do you know about soccer?
Very little. Very little. It's kind of like hockey to me. It's fun to watch, but I don't know much about it.
Okay. After the brief summary that we've told you about and that you've read, do you think that this rivalry, the Old Firm, can explain Ireland?
Oh, come on now. You don't really believe that. Sports do funny things to people, don't they?
Yes.
I mean, just if I'm going to tell you that there's rivalry between us and Leo High School doesn't mean that it's bad. There's some crazy people in there. So there is in the soccer too. And they believe it, drink too much beer, and so they end up fighting.
Do you think that Ireland was personified correctly in this chapter?
I don't know what chapter you're talking about, but I don't think so. I think it's poorly said. If they said that, it had to be a sports person who's trying to make you and I believe that.
Thank you for your time.
Amen.
Our next interviewee will be Mr. Harlan. We'll be interviewing him on Chapter 3, How Soccer Explains the Jewish Question. Would you state your name for the record, please?
Chris Harlan.
Alright. What do you know about soccer, Mr. Harlan?
I know that soccer is an international sport, widely loved. It's the #1 sport in the world, known as football, internationally, unlike our American football. Countries are very, very, very fanatical about it.
Alright. After reading this brief summary, do you think the chapter explains the region?
Yes.
Alright. Do you believe that the area was personified correctly?
Yes, I do.
How does this relate to Chicago and its neighboring suburbs?
Well, we have soccer clubs here. To what I understand, they are larger in the city than in the suburbs. But by far, they don't have the notoriety as far as players and salaries of that thing. It's more on a volunteer basis and more of a competitive recreational thing.
All right. Thank you for your time, Mr. Hartley.
You're very welcome.
And what sound does the duck make?
My name is Demetrius Carter, and our next interviewee is Coach Gary Lundell on how soccer explains the new oligarchs.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What is your name, sir?
Gary London.
And based off the summary that we gave you earlier, do you believe that AC Milan can explain Italy within itself?
I think in some aspects, due to the lax governmental regulations, those type of experiences probably would be hard to take place in a country where there's more regulation. So it may explain the country to some extent, yes.
Do you believe that Italy was personified correctly in this chapter?
I think it's hard to take a judgment just from one example, one excerpt of an instance. You probably would need more of a deeper study to make that kind of generalization.
Do you believe that the chapter can be related to Chicago or a neighboring suburb?
Certain aspects of it, yes. I mean, especially as it relates to Chicago politics. There's certain instances that probably would apply, and you could probably apply that circumstances to some things that take place in Chicago, yes.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
What is your name, sir?
Gus Hamilton.
What do you know about soccer?
On a scale of 1 to 10, about a 5.
After reading a brief summary, do you believe that the region was summed up well?
The region in the book, How Soccer Explains the World?
Yes.
From what I've read about Brazil, yeah, I think it actually does.
And do you believe that Brazil was portrayed correctly?
From what my friends who've been to Brazil have told me, yeah, I do. I do.
I should go way down a little bit more down.
They've talked about, I guess because my friends who go to Brazil go to party.
Okay.
And when you go to party, you do see the seedy side of life.
Okay.
And from some of the things they've told me they've just seen going on in everyday life, I tend to believe pretty much, I think the book might be accurate, which is an unfortunate thing, but yeah, I do.
How do you feel about the backdoor dealings of the Vasco da Gama Soccer Club?
Reminds me of life here.
Really?
Yeah. In corporate America, that's what makes the world go around, backdoor dealings.
Can you relate it to Chicago?
Our mayor's father, the late mayor, Richard J. Daley, was an expert at doing that. He was the only mayor I knew all my life until he died, so I got to see him in action a lot, and that's pretty much how he operated on a lot of levels.
Okay.
Particularly with the police. That's probably why, I don't know if you've read the headlines, but the Chicago Police Department is paying for the sins of 10, 15, and 20 and 25 years ago. And one of the reasons they're paying for it now is because they did backdoor dealings back then, so to sweep stuff under the rug and to make sure folks who should have gotten punished for stuff didn't.
Do you believe that we've lost any superstars because of our backdoor dealings, such as how the Vasco da Gama Club lost Pele?
So do you mean superstars in sports or just superstars in any area?
We go sports or any area.
Okay, I'm not sure about sports. We still have most of the superstars we've always had, but I can see it in terms of what's wrong with the economy in northern Illinois, particularly the city of Chicago. When I was your age, most of the jobs in northern Illinois were in downtown Chicago. Nowadays, there are no jobs in downtown Chicago. They're all in the suburbs. And if you don't have a car, you can't go get one. And one of the reasons for that is because the corporate executives met with the mayors and members of the city councils in various suburbs and ironed out perks, lower taxes, a guarantee of a certain amount of jobs for members of a particular suburb where you're moving to, stuff like that.
Okay.
And only a chosen few people were ever made aware of these perks. It's not like they decided this and then made it open information to the public.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What is your name?
My name is Lori Carter.
And what do you know about soccer?
I know that it's more of a European sport and played in European countries.
Based off the information that we told you about how soccer explains the Black Carpathians earlier, do you think that it could define Spain?
I would say that it's one of the major sports in Spain, yes.
And do you believe that it could relate to Chicago or a neighboring suburb?
No, I wouldn't, because it's more of a European style and Chicago's more Western.
Do you believe that Spain was portrayed correctly?
As far as sports?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
Thank you for your time. What is your name?
Malcolm Harlan.
And what do you know about soccer?
I know that soccer is the world's most celebrated sport. I also know that it is only over everywhere except America. It's called football. Only in America, football is known to us as soccer. And our version of football is spelled F-O-O-T-B-A-L, which is played with a pigskin and football equipment. That's pretty much all I know.
After reading a brief summary about the chapter How Soccer Explains the American Cultural Wars, do you believe that America was personified correctly?
No, I do not believe America was personified correctly. One America is made up of not just one group of people. It's made of all kinds of people with different ideas. And with different ideas, you bring different sports and cultures. So that may be why soccer is not the most celebrated, because we have too many people. That's why everybody may like different things, such as basketball, baseball, football, soccer. And soccer is a popular sport in America, but it's not the most popular sport. And because it's the most popular sport, people will say that we're ugly Americans, or that we don't, and that we're missing out on their culture. So because we choose to make our own, and because we have a consumption, we're viewed as ugly Americans, which is what I think is wrong.
Can you relate soccer to Chicago or a neighboring suburb?
Yes, I can relate soccer to Chicago. In Chicago, schools, a lot of schools now, and a lot of recreational places have soccer clubs, soccer teams, school soccer teams. Almost everywhere you go, you'll see some kids playing soccer almost any time of the year. Chicago also has its own soccer team on the Chicago Fire, which is very good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, this is Demetrius Carter.
I'm Roderick Phillips.
And I'm Jeremiah Harlan.
Special thanks to MH Productions, Assassin Pro Productions, and ThePowerWithin.com.
This has been our documentary on how soccer explains the world and in a smaller scope, Chicago.
Thank you for joining us. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Relax yourself.